10 p.m. in Accra. My name is Bright Nanamfo. Thanks so much for staying there for us. The bulletin is coming to you from the News Hub here at Adesawe, Kanda. I'm Bright Nanamfo. We'll start with a look at the major news highlights for today. The Agbogbo Mafia of the Asogli State, Togbe Afede, has charged traditional leaders to modernize and transform the chieftaincy institution in order to meet the needs and aspirations of the people. The president of the National House of Chiefs was speaking at a grand durbar to mark the end of a 3-week celebration of the Yam Festival. Former ambassador to the Netherlands, Dr. Tony Edu, says if former President Rawlings does not back his claims against the NDC with evidence, then he is into mischief. Speaking to Winston Amwa, he said since the former president believes in the principle of probity and accountability, he should be able to come out to always substantiate his claims of corruption against the NDC, the party he founded. Motorists plying the Tema-Accra motorway have expressed a worry about the deteriorating state of the facility. They fear the motorway, riddled with potholes, will claim more lives if it is left unattended to. Thanks so much for your time. This is News at 10. Let's start with our very first story. President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo is to propose a legislation to Parliament to designate August 4 as Founders Day and September 21 as Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Day, both of which will be observed as public holidays. A statement signed by the Director of Communications at the Office of the President, Eugene Ahin, said 60 years after independence, the history of the events leading to it continues to be embroiled in unnecessary controversy, due largely to partisan political considerations. The statement acknowledged Dr. Nkrumah's standing in Ghana's history and said it is entirely appropriate that Ghana honors him by designating his birthday as the permanent day for his remembrance. The statement further noted that it is fitting that Ghana honors successive generations who contributed to the founding of Ghana by commemorating the day on which the two most significant events Ghana's history occurred on August 4. On that day in 1897, the Aborigines Rights Protection Society was formed while the UGCC, the United Gold Coast Convention, was inaugurated. Meanwhile, and thanks for your time with us.
Good evening, Bright.
Let's start from here. Some have suggested that this move will put the issue of Founders Day controversy in order. Is that what you think too?
Good evening, Ghana. I would like to ask, for those people who think that this issue is going to put things to rest, I want to ask if this statement is a divisive statement or a unifying statement. In the first instance, I saw it coming, or most of us saw it coming. I am speaking not on behalf of the party, I am speaking as a former deputy leader of the party.
Right.
I'm sure the party would issue their own statement. But all I can say is that I don't see how we can say that we have a Founders Day and then we have a Memorial Day for the Osagefo. In the first instance, I don't see how people could found the country when in the first instance they also were the same people who did not even want a unitary state. These were people who were fighting for a federal state. You understand? So I don't see how we are going to marry the two for a group that had gone. If you read the Hansard of 1956, 11/12/1956, and 13th January 1957, you will find that even at those dying moments, these were people who were out there wanting this country to be divided. The Ashanti to go on their own, and the northern territories to go on their own, and they even wanted the liabilities and assets of this country to be divided by a partition commission. And how do you give such a position to a group of people who did not fight for this country? They didn't even know that there was a Ghana. They were fighting for something else. So for us in the CPP, we believe, and I believe, that there's only one founder in this country. And who is the founder? He is that one person who laid down his life, who did everything that he felt was necessary to bring us this far.
I see. The president's statement suggested that there are people who, in the build-up to independence, played critical roles. And the statement mentions, for instance, the United Gold Coast Convention. And so that is why perhaps the day that party was founded should be remembered. You don't agree?
I don't agree. I don't agree. Because the UGCC had a different agenda. The CPP also had a different agenda. The UGCC agenda was self-government in the shortest possible time. The CPP's agenda was self-government now, and that was where the Otajefo went. He went for self-government now, and he did everything within his power to gain that independence. So I don't see why now they want to share that credit with him. We could have, look, I think that it's a good idea. We could have had a Heroes Day, which would have included people like Sergeant Asiedu-Dartey and a whole lot of them. Not necessarily just the big six.
I see.
How about Bafo Akoto and the rest of them? They didn't take part? You understand? Since President Akufo-Addo came into power, his first inaugural address was one that kept all of us thinking, because we knew that he had an agenda. And this is not, for me, an MPP agenda. This is an Achim agenda. This is a family agenda. Because otherwise, I don't see why even the LLM, which plays such an important role, those members of NLM are not even being mentioned. And all that we're hearing is the JB Dankwa factor. How about Pagrant? How about Mr. Annan, who gave the first visit? How about Ajete, who lost his life, and all those other people? How about them? Right. So this argument is now just being opened. We are now going to go focus to actually rewrite history.
I'm grateful for your time with us. Madam Rodalina Yana is a former second national vice chair of the Convention People's Party. This is a development story. Certainly, we'll get you more on that. This is News at 10. We're stopping on the break. When we come back, we'll tell you what Tony Edu has been saying about former President Rawlings and the party he founded, the NDC. Stay with us. We're back in a moment. Welcome back. Member of Parliament for the Bulsa South constituency, Dr. Clement Park, has downplayed the apprehension expressed by former President Rawlings regarding preparedness of the party to wrestle power from the NPP. Reacting to comments by the former president on the NDC's chances in the 2020 elections, Dr. Park upheld the concerns are not new, but just a reminder to the party.
The former president, who is also the founder of the National Democratic Congress, made the comment while shedding light on his earlier comment, which implied it was impossible for the NDC to win back power from the New Patriotic Party come the 2020 general elections. Jerry John Rawlings was doubtful the party had what it takes to wrestle power from the NPP, questioning the readiness of the party. He maintained that for the NDC to regain power, there are a lot of issues it must address. He further indicated that the party as it stands has lost the moral high ground, hence the need to embark on a self-cleansing exercise.
Quite a few things, but the most important factor, I believe, has to do with the issue of the cleanup that needs to be done. The restoration of our integrity. We don't like to hear it, but I keep repeating it. We have to go back, seize the moral high ground. And I believe we know what we have to do. Okay, but I don't think we're prepared to confront it. Or that's what I've noticed.
J.J. Rawlings, while touching on the party's relationship with its grassroots, emphasized the need to involve the grassroots in preparing the party for the 2020 general elections.
Let's give back the party to them. They are the ones who actually make it possible. to win or lose elections. Let's respect their views. Let's respect their pains, their sensitivities. You know, let's get back to, and when I say the moral high ground, it's about time we stop using the money factor. Let's get back to the respect of our values.
The former president charged the top hierarchy of the party to come together to help restore the values of the NDC. Reacting to the concerns on the Saturday's edition of New Day, the Bulsa South MP downplayed the issues raised.
You know, the processes have begun. And we all, I mean, I want to see my party back in power. So there are processes that have started unfolding. So yes, we would always listen to caution, to guidance, but sometimes is the context.
All right, let's quickly take a look at this. Kwakweja Emisa Abraham is the Executive Director of the Center for Policy Research and Training, and he's also a lecturer at the University of Cape Coast. He's just joined me via Skype. Grateful for your time. How should the NDC involve the founder of a party in their efforts at remobilizing
there is this misconception that people who criticize their party, for instance, the attitude of the founder amounts to campaigning more or less for the party in government. That is a very big misconception. The NDC can start by talking the founder into accepting certain changes in the party. For instance, to accepting the fact that the control that he had on the party at first is not the same as it is now. Again, there has to be less of certain, critique that are being meted out to the founder, that he is on a, he sees himself as infallible, and he's rather chastising others of being corrupt. But the fact is that when he was president, he was using the people that NDC has today. So those were the same people that he was using. So if now he's complaining about corruption and all that, I think that he knows exactly what he is talking about.
I see. And so in bringing the party back, you are suggesting that efforts at criticizing what the party is doing should not be taken to mean against certain people in the party?
Not at all, right. And good for anybody to hold a dissenting view in, especially a party in opposition. I mean, parties in government face the same thing. So if a party in opposition is trying to reorganize itself and it has people who are criticizing the party, that those criticisms must be taken in good faith, seriously. But when we look at the approach of the founder is only looking for one thing: a leadership overhaul, a total overhaul of the leadership. Because as far as he is concerned, the problems that have bedeviled NDC and other is based on leadership. And let me say that corruption thrives on perception. I mean, when you look at Transparency International's corruption index, it is basically perception. And so when someone stands there and says that founder should bring evidence against people that he is accusing of corruption, seriously, I don't see how that is going to help the party. Because if people believed the NDC as being corrupt, they believed it on the basis of that perception that went into the masses.
Finally, now some of the comments he makes seem to disunite the party. He's the founder of the party. He plays a critical role in there. If there is something wrong, why won't you gather the people and talk to them than to come out and say that we are not ready for 2020?
Well, definitely, one cannot wholly say that the comments of the founder is actually helping the party. We can also say that there are channels that he could use in order to put across whatever that he would want to say. But the problem is that those who are in charge of the party, who are leading the party now, have not been on a very, they've not been on very good terms with the former president.
All
and
right.
So when we ask,
okay,
how do we,
Kweja, I'm sorry. That's all time would allow us for. Thanks for your time. Kweja Misa Abraham is the Executive Director at the Center for Policy Research and Training, and also as a lecturer at the University of Cape Coast there talking to me. Grateful for your time with us. Now, let's finally wrap up on this one. The Agbogo Mafia of the Asogli State, Togbe Afede, has charged traditional leaders to modernize and transform the chieftaincy institution in order to meet the needs and aspirations of the people.
There was full display of regalia, culture and tradition during the climax of the Yam Festival, one of the most popular festivals among the people of the Volta region at the Jubilee Park in Ho. It was a convergence of Ghana's culture as traditional leaders across the country were present to celebrate the festive occasion with the Asogli State. Cultural performances heralded the occasion. The Agbogo Mafia of the Asogli State, Togbe Afede, the 14th, speaking on the theme, the role of tradition and culture in governance and development, charged traditional leaders to deliver on the aspirations of their people.
Because things are closer to their subjects, and because of their very long reigns, their subjects still look up to them to bring development to their communities. The inability of chiefs to bring the desired level of development has led many citizens to question the relevance of chieftaincy, with some having negative notions, particularly because of the preponderance of chieftaincy and land-related chieftaincy disputes within our communities.
On the creation of new regions, Togbe Afede asked chiefs to lead the discussion and denied assertions he is against the idea.
I want to emphasize to all my voter compatriots that just as Nana Brempong said, the creation of a new region is a process. And as the leader of the region, my responsibility is to advise government as appropriate and also educate my people.
Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, who was the guest of honor, charged the youth to learn from their cultural values.
It is my hope and prayer that Asogli youth would take lessons from the sacrifices made by their ancestors and cut for themselves paths which will lead them to become worthy citizens of society. It is their turn to build this wonderful tradition, make it stronger, so that they too one day will gather here to celebrate all of you gathered here.
Contestants of TV3's flagship program, Ghana's Most Beautiful, were also present to add color to the occasion.
And that's how we wrap up the show for tonight. It was put together by Isaac Ameko. My name is Bright and Anamfo. Have a great night and stay right here on TV3. Good night.